Alright, see, I'm not gonna go into the levels that I have discovered of love because there's levels to this shit. But what I'll say is, I thought I loved my kids. I thought I sacrificed for my kids. I thought that I would do anything for my kids. But now that I'm in a space that I know that I truly live for my children. I live for my husband. I live for my family. In that, I live for myself. We have some sort of misconception in our head, and this is the freaking plan. We have some misconception in our head, believing if we live for someone else, we cannot live for ourselves. I am selfish as fuck. I put me first all the time. Like, me or nobody. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm selfish. But I am the most selfless person I know. Merch available at LonnieLifestyle.com. True selfishness is selflessness, which means like on the airplanes. Before you can put on somebody else's mask, you got to put your own oxygen mask on first. If you die, how are you helping other people? So I have to preserve myself, but my aim is to always help other people. I don't do anything that is just me focused. I do everything collective focus. And sometimes the collective is my husband. Sometimes the collective are my children. Sometimes the collective are people out here in the road. Sometimes the collective is me making these videos. Do you think exposing my life, the underbelly of my life, y'all coming for me like, sis, you said. Did I say I walk on water? Did I say that I was perfect? Did I say that I was out, don't make mistakes? And honestly, the content that I'm showing you guys is very intentional. You guys think I'm out here willy-nilly with it. I ain't willy-nilly with it. I am working a strategy with my husband, and so far it's working because we have returned back, and it only took 10 days. We separated for 10 days, and at the end of that 10 days, we are right back into the energy that we need to be in to continue doing this work. But it took us bumping up against each other like that. Why? Because God heads my household. God told me to move the way that I move, to do the things that I do. So I hear all of your advice, but at the end of the day, God, husband, wife, children. Boom. That's how my family is going to run, and that's how I'm going to make sure that it runs. Yes, me. Because right now, I am the head of my household. But we are structuring and working to put my husband in the space that he should have always been as head of the household. But that's work because he's never headed a household before. He's always had dominating women dominating him, and we can't do that anymore. But to your point, I love my children so much that I'm willing to deal with myself. I love my children so much that I can figure out, right? Because me and my husband, we liked each other once upon a time. Me and my husband, we loved each other once upon a time. Me and my husband can sit in a room with no distractions and just be together. Like, we've done this for 14 years now. So how come we can't figure out how to do it again for our children? And when you get to that space, you realize that self-sacrifice is not sacrifice of self. Self-sacrifice is taking yourself and sacrificing the old version of you, renewing yourself, becoming the version of you that can not only survive but thrive in this new environment. I am willing to sacrifice the old version of myself that wants to argue and keep up mess and all these different things in my way or the highway. The video that I posted, that the series that everybody's commenting on, I was in the energy of fuck you, fuck this relationship. I don't want to go sit. I actually left that night. I don't want to be here. So if you don't know how to talk to me, we don't need to talk. I literally told him that at the table. We ain't got to talk about nothing. We can just sit and eat in silence. I don't want to be here. You don't want to be here. We don't need to talk. And he wouldn't stop. And so I left. But what I'm saying is, I'm willing to sacrifice myself. I'm willing to put myself, I won't make that reference, but I'm willing to hold myself to task, heal through my shit, so that my kids can learn and see that just because you run up against conflict, first of all, so my kids know, you don't marry nobody just to marry them because they make you feel good in the moment. You vet that motherfucker before you marry him. And then once you marry him, you know, once you run into conflict, whatever your baseline is, you can get back to it with work. You can sacrifice your current version of yourself to become the version of you that can function, survive, and thrive in your fresh new environment. So, yeah. I love that your parents stayed together and they communicated. That's the thing. Communicate to your children what's going on, because they're seeing what's going on anyway. And if you're communicating, then they're aware. Me and my husband's issues aren't that to where we went through a phase where we were arguing all the time. Somebody was playing something loud and there was a talking voice, and one of the kids was like, "Is Dad yelling again?" So we definitely went through that energy. I don't yell anymore. Dre may yell, but we're not in that energy where he is elevated. He's no longer angry. We were able to work through that energy. Now, there's some people who stay together for the kids, and that energy lasts the entire 18 years. That's not this.